I am Tawni Waters, and I am at Rosemont College reading and being interviewed for the Writers and Readers series here. And I'm reading from my novel, Beauty of the Broken, and my poetry book, Siren Song.
Welcome everyone to our Monday edition of the Writers and Readers series here at Rosemont College. Our guest today is Tawni Waters, someone who she's a second timer, so glad to have her back. I'll be talking to Tawni today about her book, Beauty of the Broken, and her poetry collection, Siren Song, and a bunch of other stuff. Then Tawni will read for a bit, and then you will have an opportunity to ask her all sorts of probing and interesting questions. So, welcome. Thanks to all of you for coming. So, Beauty of the Broken has some really interesting themes in it, and I'm curious to know sort of what pushed you towards those themes. Was there anything specific, or was it just sort of a story? Maybe you could just tell us how the story kind of emerged thematically.
It's a book about a girl who is hated for what she is. She lives in a small town in New Mexico that is very homophobic, and she falls in love with this girl, and the religious people in the town start to torment her, basically. And I hope it makes a point about love being the thing that matters. So.
As an author, do you feel any responsibility to your readers to inform or influence with regard to gender, popular culture, or politics?
It's a pretty difficult novel, but it was sold as a YA novel. And I found, as I started going on book tour, I had this beautiful connection with these people who were young enough that their hearts were still open, and they were in a place where they were kind of feeling alone and desperate, and the way you feel when you're that age and you're trying to find yourself. And my book had such a powerful impact on them that I wasn't expecting. I mean, at times, they would line up to talk to me like I was some kind of a guru or something, because the book had impacted them so much. And they would stand there and tell me their stories, and it makes me teary to talk about it because it made me feel so helpless. Like, I can't fix all of this. Everybody had their story. Or I was raped, and my mom threw me out of the house because I'm a lesbian. I talked to a boy who was living under a bridge because his dad threw him out because he was gay. And I just realized that it was right for me to write YA, because I don't know that adults obviously are influenced by our writing. I write adult work too, but I don't know that they're influenced and impacted in that deep, profound way you get affected by literature when you're a young person.
Yeah. So, what's your favorite book?
I think a book that profoundly affected me was Poisonwood Bible by Barbara Kingsolver. I love that book. I'm a preacher's kid, and it's just a part of who I am. All of my writing has spirituality and questions of religion and stuff laced throughout. So that one impacted me for that reason. The father in that book is a preacher that takes his children to Africa and basically almost gets them killed. But it's really, really beautifully written. So that I would have to say today, that's my favorite book.
Okay.
But it might be different tomorrow.
Fair enough.
The river's warm this time of year. During fall and spring, it's so cold your brain freezes if you stick your head in. But late in summer, it's just perfect. Humming a little tune my mama sometimes sings about a chameleon coming and going, I sit on the log where me and Zillia said goodbye. I take off my sandals and wet my feet. Then I reach into my backpack and pull out Zillia's letters. The bushes behind me rustle again. Hey, bird, I call over my shoulder, wiggling my toes deeper into the river mud. Hey, Mara. I almost jump out of my skin. I whirl around just in time to see Elijah slide down the riverbank, flailing his arms and legs, obviously not used to being near the water. He lands at my feet like one of those dead lizards our barn cat sometimes leaves on the porch. What are you doing here? I say. Elijah is probably number 3 on my list of people I'd rather not see, right under Hitler and Satan. I push the letters to the bottom of my backpack and zip it shut. Brought you something, he says, pointing back toward the reeds that line the riverbank. Stuck between 2 mossy rocks, a 6-pack of the cheapest kind of beer is lodged. Well, it was a 6-pack. 2 of the little plastic holes are empty. Elijah smells like beer, so I guess he drank a couple of them. A peace offering, he adds. What makes you think I'd want that cheap old beer? I say. I know it's not worth much because Daddy cussed and hollered when Mama bought it once. Elijah pulls himself from the mud now, trying to wipe the mess from his knees and hands. When he's done, he shrugs, and his face gets so red you can't tell where the pimples begin and the regular skin ends. I thought a girl like you... I wait for him to finish. When he doesn't, I draw my own conclusions that make a seed of rage sprout in my belly. You thought a girl like me what? You thought I'd be a drunk? The seed in my belly takes off like Jack's beanstalk, growing faster than lightning. I hate Elijah more now than I ever have. Calling me a whore or a Jezebel is one thing. Calling me a drunk like my daddy is quite another. Get out of here, I say. Look, Mara. Look what? Look, you think I'm some abomination? Look, you think I'm some old drunk? Look, you think I commit murders during summer vacation for kicks? I glance at Elijah, trying not to cry. You don't know a thing about me, Elijah Winchell. Before I can close my mouth, Elijah starts talking nonstop, using big preacher words like unpardonable sin and hermeneutics, which I think is some fat guy's name. He's trying to sound smart, yelling like he's a bad Shakespearean actor doing a monologue. This guy's train of thought must have gotten robbed. He sounds like no preacher I've ever heard, because usually by the end of most sermons you have a good feeling about what the preacher was trying to say. You know, for instance, that you are bound for hell. But Elijah just goes on and on about nothing, using words the way they were never meant to be used, saying things like, "Don't you comprehend this, Mara Stonebrook? It's about the revelation!" I'm thinking, what revelation? You never mentioned any revelation before. 2 seconds ago you were talking about hermeneutics. Elijah Winchell flunked first grade, and now I understand why. Giving up on trying to understand what he's saying, I blurt out, "You're a nut job." I stand and grab my shoes, hating him so much I want to spit. I yank my sandals on and turn to walk away. "You sure you don't want a beer?" he calls. His voice sounds crazy, like the homeless guy who used to stand on the street corner talking to people who weren't there. "Yep," I say, bending to pick up my backpack. He grabs my arm. Before I can think to stop it, my fist balls up and punches him. "Don't ever touch me again." Furiously, Elijah rubs the place on his arm where I punched him. I don't feel sorry for him. I lift my backpack and start to leave. That's when something hits me in the back of the head. Stumbling, I drop my backpack. A beer clatters to the ground beside me. It gets my backpack wet. I think about Zilia's letters getting ruined. The world is rocking, but I'm still ready to punch Elijah's lights out. "We're not even finished talking," he says. "Where are your manners, bitch?" I have nothing to say to you. My hands are balling up again. If he gets any closer, I'll clobber him. "Yeah? Well, I got something to say to you." Elijah's eyes burn the way they did that day he caught me and Zilia kissing. "You're an abomination." His eyes look so scary. Instead of clobbering him, I back away. Elijah comes at me. I step back again and stumble. I catch myself and refocus on Elijah's face. I know that look. I saw it in Daddy's eyes before he tried to kill Iggy. I move to run, but my feet get tangled in my backpack straps and I fall flat on my face. Before I can say anything, Elijah has flipped me over like a pancake and is on top of me, grinding his lips so hard against mine I taste blood. I scream. I can hear it even through the ringing in my ears. You would never know it by looking at him, but Elijah is stronger than Hercules. He has both of my hands pinned with one of his. I fight with all my might, but I can't move an inch. He sits on top of my thighs, straddling me like a pony. Something hard in his pants grinds against me, and it scares me more than his eyes. I start to cry and beg and plead, which I have never done once in my life. "Please, Elijah," I cry, tasting tears and snot and blood. "Stop!" His cold hand slides up under my shirt. I howl no, and he squeezes my boob, but he doesn't listen. I keep bucking, trying to get him off me, but he stays on. I wonder if he's going to kill me. Sobbing and begging, I barely feel the jagged rocks cutting bloody designs into the flesh of my back. "Please, Elijah." It's like staring into the devil's eyes. Pure hatred, undiluted insanity. Begging the devil isn't working, so I beg God, "Please, God." My voice sounds like someone else's, and it is the scariest thing of all. Elijah pulls something purple out of his pants. I know words for it. I've heard them before at school, but in my head I call it what my mama called it. But Mama was wrong about the manhood. She said it was nothing to be afraid of. She said it would hurt a bit at first, but feel good too. She lied. It's like a knife. It cuts me so bad. I leave my body, take the part of me that matters, and get up and walk away. My mind sits down by the river and tries not to look as my body gets raped. I stare into the water while Elijah rocks on top of me, grunting and sweating and calling me ugly words I didn't know had been invented yet. I look at the water gliding around the river stones, thinking about how they have been there since the beginning of time, thinking they will be here long after I die and go to heaven. I cry because I feel bad for hating Mama for not keeping her skirt down. Keeping your skirt down is harder than it looks. When Elijah's done, he mutters that I'm the devil and struggles to his feet. As he zips up his pants, he says, "If you tell anyone about this, I'll show that picture of you and your slutty dyke to your daddy and everyone in this town." Then he stumbles away through the bushes. When I'm sure he's gone, my mind slips back into my body. It hurts in here. I don't like it anymore. Don't ever let anyone tell you that life will get better. It won't. You stand up, it will strike you down. You might as well tie a rope around your neck and get it over with now if you're waiting for your luck to change. I imagine myself tying a noose, dying. I see me spread out on that table like John Doe, my belly cut open, my guts all twisted inside me. I remember that raven in the hospital parking lot pulling strings from the dead thing. Do you know what I say when I think about that? This is funny. I say, "Strings the thing." Did you laugh like I'll get out when I said that? I did. It was all I could think to say.